What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the red color, playing as Zeus. His name is the Rapl. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Oranos. His name is Kvoth. It's currently game number 2, 1-0 for Rapl in this best of 5 series. Means it's first to 3 here. Ladies and gentlemen, Rapl is without his Odin now for the remainder of this series, having won that first game with said Odin. Kvoth going to be sticking with the Oranos here. Definitely would consider he would be wishing to have himself Gaia on this map right now, given the water situation that is prevalent here. As the fishing ship are going to be coming out, it does look like this is going to be one of those 12 fishing ship spawns, just from what we've seen already, as the scout does see that one here. So you have two options. This is an Anatolia-esque map with less fish, and the water is closer together. So lots of things change here in this map. So let's talk about what is possible. So first thing that's possible is both players go separate sides at the start, which is what's happened in this particular game. And both players will fish out all 12 of their fishing spots on one side. Second thing that is likely to happen here is that we see a second dock over on this side from our Zeus player to grab these perch fairly early on here, with some pretty nice build order variations here from Rapl. We'll see if he's going to be able to work out how to do that, if that's what he wants to do. There is actually a fairly known build order, which is old, which is a very, very old build, which is a 2-dock, 12 fishing ship build. It basically evolves around yourself. You go 7 villages on wood. Then you send that 8th villager after the next villager out over onto this location here, put the dock up, and then you can build those extra 6 fishing ship. If you go any more than that on wood, you're going to be finding yourself having an excess of wood, not enough to, a little bit of a misclick here from Rapl, not really going to be able to get everything you need to have here. So, you're going to have just too much wood to play around with, as we will see that dot coming down. So Rapl is going for this strategy. You can get to the classical age at about 5 minutes, or like 4:45 if you do it right. So we'll see, especially if it depends on the hunt here. We do see that Rappl's got himself a walrus, not finding too many goats here, sending one back. But let's talk about now what Kvoth could potentially do in this early game. He's definitely going to want to get his dock over here at some point as well. Hasn't done it yet. But what he can do is actually just go for a 4:30 advance, then chuck the dock up over here while he's advancing and get those fishing ship up. And then he can defend those locations however he wants. So if these players both work that out in this moment, in this game, during the moment, this is the big thing to be always thinking about when you're playing these water maps is, okay, how many fishing ship do I have to get and what's the best way to build my economy in order to make it work? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself in the early game when you're on a water map. So Temple down for Kvoth, going up through Prometheus. Looks like Kvoth going double onto gold here. This is unnecessary. Put 1 villager on gold, the rest go on wood, and start getting your docks up. Would make a lot of sense, as we are seeing Kvoth going to be moving his citizen over onto this location. So now, if we get everything sorted, what would be the next best course of action here for Rapl and Kvoth? So the question is, do we go for the land in this matchup, or do we go for the water? And I think a lot of the time, it's really, really important to be going for the land and the water on this map, because of how useful it is to have trireme out or bareme out on the sides of these water locations here. It's really, really important to be doing that, as now we're starting to see some fishing ship coming out here for Kvoth. He's got plenty of resources in the bank. He should be fishing this one out, but he might decide to go for some earlier bareems for the harass instead onto these fishing ship. But what Rapl can do is calmly just garrison, maybe cast ceasefire, and get out some of those triremes himself. No problems here. But Kvoth going to be moving forward right away now with his bareems onto Rappl's economy here, hitting those fishing ships as fast as he possibly can. Now we're starting to see Kvoth rushing this dock down. He does cast himself Valor with with the Promethean, and he gets a hero citizen here. So I love that play from Kvoth as we see some fishing ships getting taken down over here. One thing that that now Kvoth could do is build fishing ships himself. And my God, he's literally in my brain right now as we see the dock getting taken down. We see the centaur coming in to try and harass you. You can kind of juke around a little bit here if you're Kvoth. So starting to see some trireme coming out as a defense. We might see Rapl casting Ceasefire. I'm surprised he hasn't cast it just yet as his trireme are popping out, trying to micro to the best of his ability. Does have himself a Jason out as well. And Kvoth pulling back here. To see just a few more fishing ship coming through here as the Bareem is built. But there's only one dock over here, whereas Rapl's got himself 2 docks on both sides. So a lot more defensive. And we'll see what Kvoth is going to come up with right now. 62 population to 52 population. So Rapl's going to be moving forward with these heroes. He's going to be able to get some serious damage done to Kvoth, who's now built himself a military barracks and he's making himself some of those Milo. And the centaur here getting into the mix. We'll see Kvoth trying to use his Bareem here. But Rapl just going to have to pull back. He doesn't have himself any military buildings just yet. Has a decent amount of food and gold in the bank here. As we see Kvoth pulling back. And that's the big question here now for Rapl is where to next? This isn't a 12 fishing ship, sorry, an 18 fishing ship map. So crazy strategies like fast mythics, like defend water fast mythics, a little bit too slow, doesn't really work. So throwing up the military academy makes a lot more sense here for Rapl and starting to make some units here. So we might even see him starting to get some favor here and going for those centaur in this matchup could be a good idea as we do see the big shockwave coming in. Maybe a ceasefire now wouldn't be a bad idea as the trireme are trying to defend with the best of their ability here. We do have a whole bunch of trireme, Bareem to 5, 6 trireme, 7 trireme as we do see the ceasefire forced here by Kvoth as his army is starting to get very, very strong here through this side. There's plenty of hunt on this map though, so the walrus over here, the walrus over here. We've got ourselves deer over on this location here, boar as well here on both sides. So plenty of hunt for these players. So if you lose one side of the water, it's not the end of the world. You can just get onto that hunt and enjoy life. And you can still do that regardless here. You don't necessarily need to go incredibly heavy on the wood. As we are starting to see some hoplites coming through. A second town center coming down now for Kvoth, which I love. This is basically Mediterranean theory in a big way. Like 12 fishing ship Mediterranean. I'd like to see these 3 fishing spots be grabbed, but 9 fishing ship Mediterranean. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense here. Get the advantage on the water, build the town center, retreat back, get the advantage again, build the next town center is the general strategy here. So we are now starting to see this fight ensuing. We take a good look at how many trireme the Rapl has made. He does have 11, so this turns the tables quite a bit. And I think maybe Kvoth, a little bit too greedy staying in there, definitely could have retreated back and regrouped while he was getting that town center up. Because the problem right now for Kvoth is if he loses this water, he loses this next fight, there's hoplites out. And hoplites are going to be able to tear down the dock incredibly fast. Or the docks incredibly fast as the trireme are going to be moving forward. We do see Kvoth's army pushing onto this location, but we do have ourselves some decent heroes out already as Rapl trying to push in here, trying to get aggressive as the hoplites will have to retreat back just a little bit. You could utilize the triremes to take down some of this land army if you so choose, but it does look like Rapl is just focusing down the enemy Bareem as best as he can as he does have to pull back. Rapl right now, a little bit of an advantage in the population. The town center is up for Kvoth. He is building citizen out of both of those locations. He has villagers on food, or citizen on food, I should say, as Rapl able to clean up the majority of these Bareems, and now he can regroup with his hoplites onto this location to take these down. We are seeing some Bareems pushing forward here for Kvoth, but I mean, Kvoth's 2 town centers now. He really doesn't need to be doing all too much on the water anymore. The question is, does he have himself up his economic guild? It doesn't look like he does. He should drop an economic guild and get himself some sort of what do you call it? Some sort of hunting dogs, and going onto the hunt would be a really, really good idea. Going for some land raids to try and hurt Rapl's economy here. We do see the dock is taken down as the hoplite's going to be moving in onto the Terma here The Bareem about to be getting taken down as we're starting to see a little bit of a raid onto the top side here. Maybe Kvoth can take this side out as we do see some pretty aggressive triremes coming in. We will be seeing the Terma getting taken down here as it's getting a little bit out of position there. But the docks do end up getting taken out as Rapl is continuing to push forward here. You can definitely think about trying to take down these military barracks, counter barracks. We're starting to see stables coming up. Multiple stables, 3 stables actually right now. Lots of villagers on this gold over here. Rapl looking to get himself a second town center to boot here. So we're now starting to see some raids coming in. The Hero Mamilo going to be wandering into the base of Rapl, going right after those wood villagers in the back here. But Rapl very smartly going to be jumping onto this with his villagers surrounding that Hero Mamilo. We'll be able to actually take that one out here. Nice play there from Rapl as the rest of those Mamilo running into the main base of Rapl. Good micro, good decision making. Town center just about up for Rapl as he does notice this final dock over here, but no Bareem here just yet, and Rapple's just calmly going to be retreating away. As we see the units coming in, and now we've got the 11 Bareem coming through for Kvoth to fight this location and take Rapl down. This is one of the big advantages here or big differences here on this map compared to on Anatolia, is that if you have a whole bunch of units, it's really easy to bring them over to the side of the map and take down a dock in tandem with a handful of Bareems. Maybe arguably too many Bareems being created here for Kvoth. So we're now starting to see a third town center coming up for Rapl. He can jump onto this hunt over here if he so chooses. He will only have himself 6 fishing ship spots here. So they've got 5 fishing ships out there as well. So we do see hunting dogs coming through for Rapl. So very smart to be doing that. He's got all of these walrus over there. He's not going to need to farm anytime soon. And we're going to be seeing Kvoth dropping the dock up here. Do we have ourselves purse scene? No purse scene just yet, but I'm sure that's going to be a technology that is worth grabbing here in the near future. So we see the army pushing in to clean up Kvoth's second dock as a stray Caraballister. And over here, the Odysseus does spot it, going to start attacking it with his arrows. But remember, Caraballister, 50% pierce armor here. As we see the dock getting cleaned up. And the fishing ship getting cleaned up over here. Town center up on this location is Rapl trying to put his own stables up. We've got 4 citizen throwing this up incredibly fast here. And I don't think that, now Rapl has spotted, but I don't think that he's going to be able to get his army over here. We will see the villager attempting to shank this one as the units here for Rapl going to be making their way over there immediately. But I think Kvoth's already got his units in position. He's going to be able to get it up, but a lot of citizen here nonetheless to get that town center up. And is Rapl going to be able to advance to the next stage anytime soon? He's got the resources for it, and he's got the armory, and we will be seeing an Apollo coming through very shortly here. Kvoth, on the other hand, is going to be coming through Thea, so both players in an incredibly equal spot right now, I would say, in terms of tech, which doesn't bode well for the Oranos, I must say. We've got a very safe second gold here as well. The difficulty is going to be these middle gold mines to secure, but the side gold mine, there's just one there for both players. So we'll see if Kvoth's going to be able to punish here. So the idea for Kvoth has to basically be, is we finally seeing a Pegasus coming out. Yes, I don't have to talk about it anymore. Rapple's going to see some of the map. I mean, he's building the Pegasus for the Apollo, but, you know, whatever. Point is, he's got one. So right now, it seems to me that Kvoth's strategy has to revolve around gold mines, gold controlling this location and this location. Right now, Rapple's already moving onto this gold mine, so maybe a little bit slow from Kvoth here. Make sure that doesn't get taken, but the Pegasus is just going to hang in this location here. Rapple's going to be advancing fairly shortly to the Mythic Age. I'll be interested to see if Rapl decides he's getting himself Salt Amphora to go through Hephaestus or Hera here. It's a big question, because he's got himself Underworld, so he can force a fight kind of wherever he wants. And one of the big strengths of Hera, we don't see used very often, is you pull the army away, you underworld and kill the town center, and then the army is either going to be attempting to kill your underworld away from their own stuff, or they're going to come back and try and kill your army that's kind of out of position, and then you hit Hera, and then they lose all their units to Lightning Storm, and you're completely fine where that's concerned. But we are seeing Hephaestus coming through. It's a very safe choice here from Rapl. Makes a lot of sense, and we're seeing Heka coming through for Kvoth, which maybe in this position Helios would make a little bit more sense, just on the fact that you've got tons of resources. You know your opponent's got tons of resources. You know your opponent's probably going to be getting Mythic Age before you, or at the very least at the same time as you. So that Tartarian Gate is not going to be that scary at all. But I guess maybe he wants to be using his Tartarian Gate as maybe a underworld distraction of some variety here. As Rapl has spotted a stray villager over here, does pick that one off, and sitting on this location now, we do see the Pegasus moving on to the top side. Will we see him go after the main town center is the big question here. He's got himself heavy hoplites as well. He's got only 8 hoplites in this army, though, it looks. So maybe a little bit difficult for him to actually take something out here, as we do see the Mythic Age coming through now for Rapl, as the unit's in position right now to drop a Tartarian Gate down. But guess what? Colossus is in. Oh, and Medium Murmillo unfortunately does go down here. As Rapl retreating back. Alistair doing their dirty right now onto these hoplites, as Rapl trying to pull back. Kvoth is potentially in a decent position. Going to be throwing a palace up in the middle of the map, which I absolutely love. This is what I was talking about here, is this is the chance for Kvoth to win, is with some sort of tandem attack, hitting a Tartarian Gate somewhere, hitting a Vortex somewhere, and then going after this gold mine afterwards. Because you can see this gold mine just about to expire, as the armory's getting dropped now for Rapl. We've got ourselves 80% of the way through Forge of Olympus here. As more archery ranges getting set up for Rapl, and Rapl right now has got himself hoplites, champion hoplites I should say. The villagers are going to start shanking away at this location. Where's the Colossus at? Seeing the Bellerophon coming in, Myrmidon getting trained here. Villagers moving forward, as we're seeing some a stray watchtower getting thrown up, as a bunch of military academies getting dropped at the top corner of the map here. The big important thing to do on this location is to try and get the Bellerophon to be focused, and then just kind of pull him back. And that's kind of what we're seeing here from Rapl. Do a little bit of the Amanra strat here to distract these Tartarian spawns just a little bit. But really, where is the Colossus? I don't know. There was a Colossus once upon a time, but there it is. You want to send that over here, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter all too much, as the villagers will be able to end up finishing off this location here. As the army pushing through over here, we do have Myrmidon onto this location here. The Odysseus and Jason doing their thing, as we do see this hero citizen wandering forward to drop this watchtower onto this location. I probably would have preferred to see a sneaky palace up rather than a watchtower, but at least the watchtower is going to give some coverage for that citizen a little bit later here, as Kvoth doesn't really have the resources to muster that. But right now, we've got Rapl on the forward location here with these Myrmidon getting trained here, as the barracks are all getting thrown down there. Villagers having to pull back, but it does look like the army here able to clean up Kvoth's army. Both players in a decent position, but this is Zeus late game. We've got champion infantry for both players. Both players in the Mythic Age. Hand of Talos coming through. Bronze weapons, bronze mails, bronze shields coming in. How are Kvoth's army upgrades looking? Not the best. He does have resources to be building them, as you do see a stray temple coming up on this position, as well as the Dryad thinks about whacking them, but decides, nah, better not. Better go elsewhere. So we see a barracks getting dropped over here from Kvoth. Will we see that palace getting dropped in? We do see some fire siphons coming in onto this position now. Kvoth hasn't quite noticed just yet, but he has sent in some Bareems to start harassing fishing ships as we've got Rapl pushing on onto this position. I don't think that Rapl realizes exactly how close to losing this game he is. He's getting himself Iron Mail, Iron Shield, so his armor upgrades are gigantic right now. We see the palace on this location as those Myrmidon going to be rushing this down. Definitely better to go after that palace first, I would say, but it seems like the Myrmidon able to start rushing this down. How many does he have? He's got himself 11 Myrmidon right now with 15 damage a second. They get the Zeus bonus of, is it double? 100%, so double. So they're doing 30 hack damage a second to this fortified town center. It gets absolutely carved down. And now we're seeing the fire siphon going after the main base of Rapl, as Kvoth is trying to get somewhat of a base trade here, which is always going to be a challenge. As more fire siphon coming in, we do have a handful of units now attacking this gold mine over here. One champion Mimilo, one dryad going to town on this location. And Rapl, he's got himself 367 gold right now. Hasn't really started up a trade route of any vicinity here. Is now the Myrmidon going to be going after the other town center of Kvoth, as he's going to be losing town centers all across his map incredibly fast. The Myrmilo of Kvoth able to deal with this stray army over here, but the problem, as we've already noticed, is 100% going to be this town center, and we've also got a temple up over here with Colossus to boot. They are only silver Colossus, but they're going to be moving in to deal with the enemy town center very shortly after this. And now Myrmidon moving in to take out the middle palace here as well. The villagers have all been taken out on this gold mine, as Rapl does not pay attention to that. He loses about, I would say, 20 villagers here, as we do see a bit of a shockwave to try and help keep this town center alive. We have 5 citizens trying to repair this one back up, but it's not going to be enough here. We haven't seen Rapl trying to move forward and grab this town center yet. He can sell wood for gold if he so chooses here. He can move on to this gold mine as well if he wants. More villagers coming over here. We do have a trireme that can help out. We've got a handful of champion Myrmidons onto this position over here, as we see an underworld coming into the main town center. And in that moment, Kvoth does tap out. My golly gosh, Rappel's showing off some incredibly strong decision making here. I wouldn't even call this the late game here. I would call this like the kind of early late game at the very least, but he's just attacking everywhere. He hits this town center, he kind of ignores his home base. Min defends that, kind of doesn't even care about his gold mine in a big way. He seems destroyed the middle of the base, just killing everything of Kvoth. In the end here, the game plan for Kvoth was really simple. Control the map, control the gold mines here. If Kvoth had defended this gold mine earlier, this is 3,000 gold being grabbed here. That gets denied, which definitely was probably possible here from Kvoth. He puts the palace up, he comes over here, he chucks a palace over here like he already had, and he defends this location. Then maybe things become a little bit more challenging for Rapl here, but doesn't go for it. Rapl gets the dub, up 2 wins here. We have seen sweeps before already in this tournament, so Kvoth's still in with a shot, and we haven't seen his pocket pick Gaia yet. So we'll see if he's going to pull that one out in game number 3 or not. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch, hit that YouTube subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.